You can't start until they're done.
I'm going to compete with the NHK broadcast here for just a moment. It's okay. Okay.
2 minutes.
国連本部の会議室です。まもなくここで若宮さんが英語でプレゼンテーションを行います。国連本部の会議室です。まもなくここで若宮さんが英語でプレゼンテーションを行います。
You never argue with the camera. We appreciate, of course, the broadcasters from NHK being here today to discuss skills of technology with older people. But I think we're all here for the real star, Masako. Good to have you here today. My name is Bradley Sherman. I'm with AARP. For those of you who do not know AARP, AARP is an American organization dedicated to improving the lives of people over the age of 50 years old. We've been at the UN now for over 30 years with special consultative status. We serve 38 million Americans through our social mission. And we're really focused on, as I said, improving the lives of older people. I'm excited to be here today because innovation has become a real core tenet of the work at AARP. We were and continue to be a disruptive organization in American society, but have really pivoted to technology in recent years. And although a lot of organizations like to talk the talk about innovation and technology, I think we're an organization that's beginning to walk the talk as well. In particular, at AARP, we set up not only an innovation lab, but also an innovation fund, a venture capital fund of its first kind, focused on social innovation. And we're pretty proud about both of these. Our iLab takes on first-generation enterprises that are ideas very much in their nascent state, looking to evolve and become really essential parts of the marketplace. The second, our innovation fund, takes existing startups that are in late-stage development and helps them get over the final line. And we're working with companies like Fresh Direct, which is a food delivery service company. We're working with an AI toy firm called Anki to help, we think, in the future with social isolation. And we are working with a medical firm called One Medical, which offers concierge healthcare service to our members. I want to point out before we get started in our robust discussion this afternoon, 3 pretty amazing facts that relate to technology in later life. These facts come from a report recently released by AARP called the Aging Readiness and Competitiveness Report. The first fact, 81% of older Americans who use social networking socialize with others on a daily or near daily basis, 29% more likely than those offline. And as we look at some of the determinants to long life, social isolation is one of those things that pulls people back. The second fact, among the more than 1 million Uber drivers around the world, 1 in 4, 25%, is over the age of 50. And the final piece, and I think such a good segue to our honored guests and our honored partners for this event, the Japanese government, 80% of older Japanese welcome the prospect of robots looking after them when they need care. So, domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you. I'd like now to introduce the ambassador from the great country of Japan to offer initial opening remarks.
May I?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Bradley. And distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to deliver this opening statement as one of the co-sponsors of this side event. And at the very outset, I should extend my appreciation to my fellow co-sponsors of course, the DESA, the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, Waseda University, the NGO Committee on Aging, the keynote speaker, Wakamiya-san, the panelists, and all involved in dedicated efforts to prepare this event, including the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication of Japan. Well, Bradley said that the role of the AARP in a very succinct and compact way, that is to help improve the lives of older persons, people. Older persons, you may be looking around, but we are going to be older persons, and this is all talking about us and how we improve our lives and how we help improve the lives of older people through digital technology. That is going to be the agenda of today, and we are happy to engage in discussion. But Japan is incredible in a sense because it is the most aged country in the world. According to the national statistics last year, 27.3%, or that is more than a quarter of the population was now over 65 years old. And it is expected that by year 2065, in 50 years, the quarter of the population will be over 75 years of age. But this is not only the trend for our country, rather this is a phenomenon which is increasingly important on a global scale. And the number of older persons around the world is expected to be doubled by 2050. So to tackle this challenge, I don't call this as a problem, this is a challenge. It is critical to share each country's experience and knowledge. Aiming to promote cooperation among UN organizations and member states and other stakeholders in this field, Japan is co-hosting and engaging in a series of side events during this Commission of Social Development. And even this morning, I attended one side event hosted by WHO, and we are together, and the decade of healthy aging, which is going to be very important from year 2020 to 2030, introduced my government's commitment on this field. And we tend to consider older persons as a vulnerable group, and that is sorely in need of help. But please look around. That is not the case. They have been contributing our society rich, and they are continue to expand their expertise to develop many ways and diverse ways to make our society better and prosperous. Indeed, a majority of older persons wish to further contribute to society, but there is one of the obstacles that I think preventing them from participating is rapidly changing technologies. And digital technology is one of them. But we are surrounded by smartphones, digital technology all around our lives. I'm sure you woke up this morning with alarm and look at the schedule of today and came here with help, aided by the direction finding this smartphone and so forth. But digital technology should not be the barriers, but it should be the way to enrich the quality of life of the older persons who are able to make use of them. So today we have Ms. Wakayama here, 82-year-old woman who developed smartphone applications. I'm sorry to disclose the age to a distinguished lady, but this is for the encouragement of many women who participate here and to make a keynote speech. And she's challenged what most people think impossible and made it happen. She demonstrated infinite possibilities. And she traveled from Tokyo to New York with her support team, volunteers who are also from Tokyo and Japan. And I appreciate their contributions, and I'm looking forward to hearing her speech. And also from Japan, I'd like to introduce Professor Toshio Obi of Waseda University, who is participating in this event as a panelist. The Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication of Japan has implemented many projects for better health, wealth, and smarter aging by harnessing the power of advanced ICTs. And Professor Obi has continuously made great contributions as a pioneer in this field, and he also has taken the initiative in addressing our challenges globally in the international arena. Finally, to achieve the SDGs, it is essential that everyone, including older persons who are able to benefit from advanced in technology and science, which is accelerating on a global scale. So this is a kind of advertisement, but in June, coming June this year, we have a multi-stakeholder forum on science and technology and innovation for the promotion of SDGs, and Japan is co-hosting the entire program, and I'm one of the co-chairs. So I'm very much excited to make this is a great opportunity, building on the program of this today, to make an important step forward to make for the inclusiveness of science and technology to achieve the SDGs. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Of course, this work would not be complete without the strong support of the UN, and especially the champion in Rosemary Lane. ARP is very fortunate to have worked with you, and for those of you who are not able to attend the ARP UN briefing series this year, I hope you do find time for it next year around the inclusion of older people in society. But Rosemary, please.
Thank you, Your Excellencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to join you in this important and timely event on digital skills for older persons. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Japanese Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication, the Permanent Mission of Japan to the UN, Waseda University, the NGO Committee on Aging for co-sponsoring this event in partnership with UNDES's Division for Social Policy and Development, and I'd particularly like to thank my colleague, Amin Lamrabat over there, who has a particular passion for this topic and helped put this august panel together today. This event is very timely because the digital revolution, along with the connectivity and innovation, is transforming our world and calls for new skills. And in an increasingly connected world, we must ensure, as the ambassador remarked, that older persons in particular are not left behind. According to a 2017 AARP report, however, in many countries, older people do not have access to the net, and some striking numbers in Turkey and Mexico, about 90% of people 65 and over have never used the internet. In China, it's more than 85%, and in Brazil, it's more than 75%. And even in the US, it's more than 30% of people 65 and over that are not online. The Madrid Plan of Action on Aging states that the lack of access to technology that promotes independence and socioeconomic changes can marginalize older persons from the mainstream of development, taking away their purposeful economic and social roles and weakening their traditional sources of support. And digital skills are critical for older persons because many of our daily activities, such as online learning, shopping, banking, and access to public services, now require us to interact with technology. And older persons have to learn digital skills to realize the potential this digital future offers all of us, to be aware of how new technologies can enhance their work capabilities, employability, and facilitate their day-to-day activities. And technology has been transforming the way we work, as we know, the way we do business, educate, provide health service, interact with governments, and even socialize, as was mentioned. New technologies have the potential to build peaceful and inclusive society and can be used as a powerful tool by older persons, but we also know, as we've mentioned, that it can also lead to their exclusion. The MIPA recognizes that technology can be used to bring people together and contribute to the reduction of marginalization, loneliness, and segregation between the ages. Digital skills can help older peoples get online, benefit from services, products, and opportunities offered by an ever-growing digitized economy and society. For example, older persons' technology can be used to manage medications, as well as to assist them in driving and transportation, as was mentioned by the ambassador. In fact, I was thinking, I have no clue how I ever got anywhere with a paper map when I'm driving. I don't know how I did it. So the challenge we're all facing is how older persons can access such innovations and technologies in an equitable way and fully benefit from them. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, in 2015, as was mentioned, the world leaders adopted the 2030 agenda and its 17 goals. And specifically, the 2030 agenda highlights the spread of ICTs and interconnectivity as enormous potential to accelerate human progress, to bridge the divide, and to develop knowledge societies, as does scientific and technological innovation across areas as diverse as medicine and energy. Digital skills can play a catalytic role to promote the well-being of older people. And governments need to work closely with stakeholders to ensure older people have the skills to get online, can create high-speed digital infrastructure for all citizens and businesses, foster entrepreneurial and innovation abilities through digital skills, and promote lifelong learning, especially through digital platforms. I have no idea what this is, such as massive open online courses. I hope somebody's going to tell me what that is. And support digital teaching skills as well as developing digital services for older people. Only by promoting the skills of older people, which are essential to building the society for all ages, can we achieve sustainable growth and social inclusion. So I really look forward to listening to the interesting presentations of this panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosemary. To give some ground rules, we'll have a few presentations, 4 in a row, and then we'll open up to some dialogue, perhaps some start-off questions, and then we'll go into perhaps the audience with a few. But we have a tight schedule to get everything in. Perhaps there is no one better than Wakamiya-san to speak about digital inclusion. As we all know, she is a rock star in Japan, or should I say tech star in Japan. Not only about how digital innovation can innovate your own life, but how digital literacy can help the individual reinvent herself. I've been a fan of yours for a while, so I'm honored to be here in your presence.
Thank
Please.
you, Mr. Schumann. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to address this distinguished audience today. My name is Masako Wakamiya. I'm 82 years old. I'm relatively well, however, as the case with many seniors like me, I do feel that my eyesight, hearing, memory capacity is gradually declining. I seem to have become into the limelight in 2017 February, when I created Hinadan and iPhone app. However, even before this time, I was heavily devoted to helping other senior citizens or even youth who are distanced from technology to realize their full potential through digital life. I'm only started to use a PC when I was over 80s of age. When I retired from work, I bought a computer, learned how to use it, and through my genuine curiosity, have continued to enjoy many digital devices since then. From this experience, I would like to speak to you today of how having digital skills is effective for senior citizens to feel empowered and in control of their own lives. Of course, there are also new accessibility functions being introduced by manufacturers which are embedded into the devices themselves. However, I will speak today about the skill set of senior citizens. Firstly, digital skills help seniors be independent. As seniors, we all suffer from our short memories. However, by using the calendar program on our computers, we can keep track of where we need to be and what and at what time. We sometimes simply cannot remember a certain idiom. We can picture what it looks like, but I cannot remember the exact words which describe this image. By using related vocabulary that we can picture, we will finally find the idiom we are looking for. Memory. That is where computers have the most competitive advantage, and we seniors have the greatest disadvantage. There is no reason why we should not benefit from this competitive advantage of computers. Secondly, later skills help our relationships with our families, our communities, and even beyond. If seniors live apart from their families, digital skills will help them stay in touch with their loved ones. For example, video chat or IM and email helps them share how to or what they need. Thirdly, digital skills help seniors to socialize and ease the pain of being alone. For example, I have been a member of an internet club for senior citizens named Melo Club for 22 years. Melo Club was established in 1999 with a vision to support seniors' active participation in society through support of digital skills. Since then, it has been sustained through 300 members' annual fees and does not receive any technical or financial support from government or corporations. Within Melo Club, there are various rooms. A unique feature of Melo Club is the Life and Aging Room. There is where seniors share their feelings of difficulties they face as they go through the life stage. For example, some seniors have been advised they will only live a little longer. Some are worried about aging and what issues they will face. Some seniors are worried about taking care of their parents who are much older. These programs cannot be shared with family, and it is important for the members to feel someone is listening and someone cares. It's a totally different atmosphere to someone is listening and someone cares. It's totally different atmosphere to some young person's chat correspondence. It's a from a soul, true feeling type of correspondence. Fourthly, digital skills help seniors mix with various new types of people. I enjoy chatting over 1,000 people from different generations and even from overseas. I take advantage of translation software where I correspond with people who do not speak my language. It is remarkably interesting to hear different perspectives from people toward my content on social media. I learn new things. Digital skills also help me make new friends from overseas. For example, I was invited to Software Aid Fest in Korea as a speaker last April. At that time, the title of my speech is I Want to Be Creative. With it was a sensitive time for Korea-Japan relations from a diplomatic point of view. I received a loud applause from the young Korean audience. I was also invited as a speaker to the programmers event in Xi'an City in China and joined via video messaging. I was told that this brought smiles to over 10,000 people who accessed the video. Furthermore, I have been interviewed by broadcasting networks from Singapore, France, Switzerland, and Taiwan. I feel such opportunities enable grassroots collaboration among citizens. Digital devices help citizens be creative. This is a piece of excellent art, which is a form of creative enjoyment done by coloring cells in an Excel spreadsheet. This simple form of art is assisting us in passing traditional Japanese patterns to the young generation. Many elderly women enjoy cross-stitch or knitting, and for this reason, take an interest in Excel art. Should the person's eyesight be poor, they can make the cell larger on the screen. Even if their hands shake when she holding a pencil, in this way they can color without worrying and can enjoy creating their own unique art. This pendant was also my original design and then brought to life by using a 3D printer. Such small forms of creativity help us seniors continue to be active. By the way, do you notice today's PowerPoint template is also made of Excel art, like this. Digital devices help us enjoy more. The reason why I came up with the idea of Hinadan app was because I wanted to create a game app which seniors can play. Most seniors cannot able to keep up with the fast-paced games which young people play. I also wanted to pass on our tradition of Hina Matsuri or Doll Festival to the next generation. In addition, I released an English version of the app last December and will soon release a Chinese version. Digital devices can also be used for playing music. Please listen to my playing a Japanese traditional instrument, okoto. This traditional song called Sakura, Cherry Blossom. Thank you for listening to my speech. I hope you will be able to take something back home from my message today. I hope you can encourage more seniors to be active members of society. I also hope that we, the community, the nation, and the unity of United Nations will be able to join hands and think about how we can create a society where senior citizens feel empowered and can continue to play an important role. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you. I can't tell you how much I wish I could just use Excel to do what it's supposed to do, much less paint. Your art's beautiful. What you've done is amazing. Thank you. And now to follow up with some expert commentary. First, Professor Toshio Obi. Obi-san and ARP have worked together a number of times over the past years, and most recently we appeared on a panel in Washington, but Obi-san is also widely quoted in some of our research at ARP about digital inclusion. Professor Obi-san.
Thank you very much, Moderator Bradley. After the speech by Miss Wakamiya. I look very young, and I'm very happy to be with her since I worked with her in the Brussels 4 years ago to organize the Japan-European Union's Conference on Aging. But this time we are now in New York and working for UN activities. First, I really thank for UN DESA and Rosemary's Lane and Ambassador Hoshino of Japan. Also, UN Committee, NGO Committee on Aging, and of course, all audiences and panelists. On behalf of the Waseda Universities, also as the chairman of the APEC project on e-aging, also co-chairman of the Japan-China Silver Innovations, as well as the chairman of the OECD Silver Economies. I really pleased to be here as the panelist and, of course, one of the speakers. I don't need to explain about my career because of the time limitations. Next. Okay. Japan, as #1 super aging societies, is really defined by UN, and I'm very pleased to explain about why Japan is super aging societies. But there are 3 impacts of aging societies in Japan. One is economic impact. This is a little bit negative things, and quite a number of the senior retirement peoples looking for a job, but in realities, only 20% of them can get job. And economic disparities is going on, not only Japan, but also all over the world. You know, rich and poor, elderly, and become bigger gap, according to OECD statistics. About the social impact, we need the pension system and medical healthcare need reform very rapidly due to the increased aging populations. Also, a new big public project for aging infrastructures in urban communities, like all the road, railways, hospitals, schools, building, and bridge, so on. So we need huge amount of investment in repairing our old communities after the World War II. And demographic change, almost 40% of population will be age 65 plus in 2050. That's why we call super aging societies as #1 in the world. But we have a very good terminology like a long, happy life. Men can live until 83 as average, and women can live until 89 years old. And there are some gap between men and women, but in any case, this figure will be extended to over 90s very soon. And issue #3 is the very good things. You know, the senior are not burden, but asset. 60% of the national financial asset belong to senior persons. And expenditure by older persons exceeds US $1 trillion, including paying tax as a big spender and consumers in Japan. This amount is almost the same amount of the Japanese government budget. So aging people is very, very contributing to Japanese national economies. Next. And transformation of digital economies by smart silver economy and communities. This is our first occasion in the histories of mankind to converge aging societies and information societies to be harmonized in one decade. So we must have the more comprehensive approach to our new societies using open innovations for silver business in all sectors, including medical and business, education, transport, and so on. Next. In that sense, we have the IoT, Internet of Things, utilization for an aging societies. There are three criteria of silver ICT. One is the home electrics, and second, health care, and third, life innovations. This amount will be huge in the future, like 2050. We calculated with the OECD, it's 27 trillion US dollars for our silver economies. Next. So some examples like a robot and some games like smart silver innovations, assisted robot communication, robot destructive technology is already on the list. Next. And we are now approaching to smart silver cities in everywhere in the world, especially developed countries. And we can use big data, IoT and AI, artificial intelligence, and creation of the life support business for silver cities or smart cities. So there are a number of the approaches, individually or local government and central government and business and NGOs and many stakeholders for working on the smart silver cities. Next. I have two really good opportunities at the United Nations. One is in October 15th in 2015 as the day for International Memorial Day for older persons. I was speaker there. And also February 2016 as the organizer of the aging societies at that time. Next. Also, as I said, we are working on the Japan-China because China is so important for our issues. China has the biggest aging populations, 140 million aging people in 2017. And Japan has the highest aging ratio, almost 30%. So we are working on how to solve the issues bilaterally. Next. Also, Waseda University is working on the APEC, Asian and Pacific Economic Cooperations, on the workshop on e-aging, Singapore 2014, and Tokyo 2015, and Moscow 2017, chaired by myself, and making a really good recommendation for the communities. Next. And regarding Japan, European unions, we had a policy dialogue on silver ICT in 2013 in Brussels and 2015 in Tokyo. As I told you, Mrs. Wakamiya attended the Brussels meeting 2013 as Japanese delegations. And between Japan and European countries, there are some common issues, and like healthy aging and silver ICT, and some R&D activities, such as the EU Horizon 2020s. Next. So I will give you a very short notice on the new trend and the global issues of the silver innovations. One is increasing urban aging very rapidly. And second is increasing living alone at home in our data-driven research. And also, just a footnote, 1/3 of the Japanese female will be older women in Japan very soon. And another increasing is the bigger income gap, inequalities, and the SDG of United Nations needs the poverty eradications, and this is really issues for future societies. And another one is increasing new digital divide. Old digital divide is how to use the PC and the smartphones. A new digital divide will be how we can access to AI, IoT, big data, and the cloud. That's very sophisticated ICT device. And also, I can say some issues like increasing nursing at home. And family care might be more popular than staying at hospital in the future due to a shortage of both government budget and caregivers and nursing in hospitals. So what we should do is to make the family educations and training and inclusion on health care. They are not professional, but they need such kind of the knowledge for their so-called the aging inclusions. Another one is a popular application for silver technology innovations in Japan as the super aging societies. Of course, I told you the IoT and big data AI is really a new destructive technologies in our societies to create the smart silver societies. What we are doing is the assistive robot R&D, but a little bit expensive. Self-help check by digital device, this is quite common. And the business continuity plan for disaster reductions, because we have the typhoon and the earthquake quite often. And smart digital home for quality of life, that's really dream. Online shopping at home, this is really increasing phenomenon for aging consumers. And virtual reality for leisures. And another one is a really competitive business, auto driving, smart mobilities, which might be materialized in 2025. Also, a security and monitoring system for safe, secure life. And the last one is the 5G mobile and the HK TV super visions for 2020 when we will have the Tokyo Olympic. Next. So last slide, there are 4 guided questions from Secretariat and my recommendations. One is lifelong learning to acquire digital skills. My answer is active role of universities or vocational school for lifelong learnings or e-learnings on digital skill. So we should encourage the university to work on this. Second is innovative technology for older persons. AI must increase jobs for the aging. Because everybody thinking the AI will kill half of the all human job in 2040. And even 2045, there are the singularities. AI will be better than the human being. That long. Human being, we can control the AI and ask AI to create a job for aging people. That's the order. And third one is usage of the above for poverty eradications. We need a new job. Okay. telework, silver ventures, silver small, medium enterprise, online service, cross-border workplace, anytime, anywhere for aging peoples. The last one is user-friendly technological adaptations. I asked United Nations to create the voluntary fund for promoting silver digital employment and global action and research on e-aging by IT companies. They should pay because aging people is the biggest consumers as a whole. That's my very short presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Obi. Because we are starting to run short on time, I want to make sure that we have enough time for presentations and obviously Q&A. So, Rosalie, I'll pass on the formal introductions if that's okay with you. Please.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me today. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm going to start by telling you a little bit. Telling you a little bit about the AgeWell Network, where I do a lot of my research, and then focus my talk on two of the discussion questions that were posed initially for this session. So while the session is titled, Why Are Digital Skills Critical for Older Persons? I'm going to go on the assumption that they are, and a lot of the presentations so far have very much supported this. And so the backgrounder for the session also provides an excellent summary of the why. So I'm going to focus a little bit just on the potential how-tos of how we might be able to achieve this. So the AgeWell Network is Canada's technology and aging network. It's a research network that is federally funded by the Canadian government, and it stands for Aging Gracefully Across Environments Using Technology to Support Wellness, Engagement, and Long Life. It's aimed to create technologies and services that benefit older adults and their caregivers, with the idea to maintain independence, health, and quality of life, with innovations that increase safety and security, support independent living, and enhance social participation. At the moment, we have 150 and more funded and affiliated researchers from 37 universities and research institutions across Canada, and over 200 industry and government and nonprofit partners. And this is really, according to our numbers count right now, probably the largest federally funded research network in Canada so far. And it is probably because a lot of the issues around aging and technology resonate a lot with people across the world. It also is a good testament of how inclusive we are. And so if anybody is looking for research collaborations with Canada, we are open. So as I said, I'm going to be focusing my talk on the first two of the questions. So when I was thinking about the possible approaches to address these questions, several things came to mind. Some are very broad social-political factors, and some are very specific strategies that can be used in the development of technology products or services and programs for seniors. But as with most complex issues, many of the approaches need to be worked in parallel in order for it to be successful, and so that we achieve what we're aiming to achieve. So here's the to-do list. It is really more of a wish list than anything. It is more of a wish list. As many of you have probably encountered already in sessions this past week, and also in other work related to digital inclusion, these are critical factors. And even if I'm outlining them very simply, that's really not to trivialize the complexity of addressing these challenges. And so really eliminating ageism, embracing the diversity of seniors, and ensuring citizenship and full citizenship of seniors in society are critical in order for us to embrace social inclusion and digital inclusion. Some of the more focused areas of how we can develop technology products, services, and programs and policies really are to be able to focus on being user-centered and inclusive in our approaches. So as many of you know, ageism affects everything around us. And so societal and individual stereotypes and prejudices directly influence what is expected of seniors, what is believed that they can achieve, what they do, and how they experience the world. And as the World Health Organization says, ageism is harmful and exclusionary, yet pervasive and normalized. A quote from CareWatch Ontario, Barry Trentham, who is a researcher in Toronto. He facilitates a group that's led by seniors who are advocating for better home care services in Ontario, has done some research, and their group has this to say: ageism leads to the invisibility of senior citizens, making it vitally important to name ageism wherever and whenever we experience it. It is only by naming ageism that we can resist it. And so there are many implications for ageism related to digital technologies. Seniors' needs are often ignored, so technology products and services are not designed with seniors in mind, so often resulting in poor usability, user dissatisfaction, and low uptake. Currently, the design processes also do not engage seniors adequately, and there are significant gaps in the methods for designing technology for seniors. Learning how to use technology is also influenced by ageist attitudes, and that doesn't preclude the ageist attitudes owned by senior citizens themselves. Oftentimes you may have seniors saying that, well, this may not necessarily be good for me. I don't know how to use this, and I'm not sure that I could learn. And so some of the attitudes that people embrace in society are often internalized by seniors themselves. So one of the things that some of the researchers within Ontario have found is that even so without technology use, seniors are often missing opportunities to influence policy that impacts them. I just wanted to make a comment about diversity. There is more diversity among older persons than among any other age group. And so some of these relate to high differentiation because of their life experiences, and there are quite a few different areas where this diversity may arise, and that is basically to say that if we embrace diversity, there's a possibility that we can design products and services that better meet their needs of seniors. And also, I wanted to make a comment about citizenship. Citizenship means having rights and responsibilities. Seniors are often devalued in an ageist society, and often resulting in loss of citizenship and loss of rights. We need to recognize and support the full citizenship of seniors, recognizing their contributions and ongoing contributions, and using a rights-based approach in our development and our interactions. Further, we as citizens also have a responsibility to design the world for everyone to participate in, and that everyone has an opportunity to achieve their goals and have their needs met. So some of the approaches that we take within AgeWell and in our research is looking at user-centered and inclusive approaches. And so these are critical in order to be able to engage seniors in the design of technology products and services, programs, and policies. This requires a shared understanding of people's values, abilities, and goals in order to co-create environments that are supportive for learning and the use of products and services and the development of technology and policies. This also means that we're fully committed to developing with seniors who are not only in the mainstream, but seniors who have disabilities and those who are at risk for marginalization. So I'm just going to briefly give you a snapshot of 3 project areas that we're looking at within AgeWell. Sorry, next slide. So this project is mostly looking at how we can apply methods and processes for engaging seniors in technology, product, and service development. And this is led by Cosmin Montagnot from University of Toronto. And really, it is an evaluation and critically examining and adapting and often reformulating the user experience design process that's commonly used in technology digital technology industries right now, and to be able to ensure that we have practices that can meaningfully engage seniors in the development of hardware, software, and user experience. And so some of the methods that they commonly incorporate are incorporating user advisory input, using methods that understand seniors early in the development processes of technologies, so using concepts like contextual inquiry that include ethnography, interviewing, and task analysis in real-life situations. And they're also using participatory design methods where co-creation of products and services are the main. They're also using iterative processes, knowing that the first prototypes won't necessarily be the ones that are most effective, but as we iterate and involve users throughout the process, we get closer and closer to products that are useful and meaningful for seniors. So this is a project looking, this is a project that I'm leading within Canada as well. It's looking at perspectives on information and communication technologies for daily activities and social inclusion among older Canadians with cognitive impairments and their caregivers. And this project is really looking at engaging seniors with cognitive impairments, a population that is traditionally very difficult to design with because of different abilities. And it is focusing on understanding their access and use of information and communication technologies for service programming and policy development. And so being able to explore what their perspectives are and how they access information and how they learn how to use technologies, we aim to be able to develop sustainable services and supports to be able to enable them to use the technologies for their benefit, and also to be able to advance policies that enable daily activity participation and social inclusion. Furthermore, there isn't a lot of technology funding and services for seniors in general, but especially for those with cognitive impairments. So this is really a starting point to better understand the technology and program limitations that there may be. And so finally, the other project that I'm just going to briefly mention is led by Megan O'Connell, and it's looking at rural and remote Indigenous technology needs exploration. And again, this is a group or population within Canada that is experiencing challenges in multiple areas, one of them being rural and being remote, and so having access to different types of technologies and the connectivity is a challenge. But also, as with many Indigenous communities within the world, there have been a lot of disparities, and being able to access from them directly what their needs are is critically important. And so looking at exploring the needs to be able to guide potential technology, product, and service development. And one of the things that they're involving is not only just the mainstream types of research methodologies, but also Indigenous methodologies in order to be able to create culturally safe and useful technologies through collaboration with the Indigenous seniors and in their communities so that there's an optimal opportunity for success. I'm going to end with that. That is my last slide. I just wanted to highlight that there are a lot of myths around aging and older people, and a lot of them really do need to be dispelled in order for us to be able to move forward in creating supportive environments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. I appreciate your sentiments on ageism in particular. I would like to challenge everyone to take it one step further, perhaps, and start with yourself, because I find sometimes the most ageist beliefs are held in our own self about our own person. And our final comments today are coming from Marissa Georgi, the Director of Curriculum Development at Older Adults Technology Services, or OATS. Marissa?
Thank you. I just want to thank you for organizing this event, and I'm thrilled to hear everything that's happening right now and to hear how aligned everyone's thinking is on this very important issue. So I'm here today from OATS, Older Adults Technology Services, and for those of you who aren't familiar with our work, we are a nonprofit based here in New York City, and we offer free digital literacy and training courses to older adults across the 5 boroughs. We also have a center in Plattsburgh, New York, which is about 20 miles from the Canadian border, and we have a presence in Malone, New York, as well as Montgomery County, Maryland. And Senior Planet is the flagship program of OATS. Our classes generally meet twice a week for about 75 minutes each, and they run for 5 or 10 weeks, depending on the course. And on the next slide, you can see we have some basic numbers here for you. We've been around since 2004, founded by our executive director, Tom Camber. And like I said, our flagship centers, there's 2. There's one in Plattsburgh, New York, which opened in 2015, and there's the one here in Chelsea, in New York City, that opened in 2013. And the one in Chelsea is the first technology-themed community center for older adults in the country. And we have over 100 partner sites, and you can see on the map in New York, those are just represent a few of our partner sites. And our partners are really important. So the way I organized my presentation today was just kind of thinking about each of the 4 questions that was proposed and addressing how OATS has managed to find success in these 4 areas. So on the next slide, I have our mission for you. And what's been so important for our success is, like I said, partnership and also training. And it's one thing to teach technology, but it's another thing to actually use it as a means of empowerment. So our programs don't teach technology for the sake of technology, but with meaningful application, because otherwise it's pointless. I can show you how to use Excel, till I'm blue in the face, but if you don't understand why you're using it, then it's not going to stick. But if I show you how you can use Excel or how you can use Google Sheets to create a household budget and how you can save money by using this technology, it shows you how it can impact your life. And so that's how we organize our curriculum around these areas. So, like I said, training and partnerships is really crucial to OATS' success. And technology adoption requires participant-driven learning. So it's not enough to say, now you have broadband access. You need to also supply training for older adults. So technology adoption and acceptance requires inclusive, participant-driven learning. As other panelists have stated, there's a massive knowledge divide when it comes to older adults and technology. And so OATS advocates for the importance of enhanced digital literacy programming with real-world applications delivered in safe environments. And we have these 5 impact areas, which I don't have time to go into today, but this is how our curriculum and trainings are organized. And we have evaluations for each of these 5 areas. And these evaluations show the impact of training and the impact and the difference that you can see in older adults who've had training with these technologies and those who haven't. I'll speak briefly about some of our partnerships. We partner with a number of community organizations throughout the city and the state. And in fact, the majority of our funding comes from government institutions. But we also partner with corporate entities. And one example of a successful partnership was with a bank who the decision had been made to close branches, but they recognized for regulatory purposes that older adults were not using their online banking services. This was a problem. So OATS was engaged at a consultant's level to help inform the development of the program and of the materials, and to also pilot this program. This program is now being offered across the country at local banks. It was Capital One and Grovo, a partnership with those 2 organizations, and we offer it as part of our own curriculum, an online banking course. It's 5 weeks long, and it's video-based, and the results have been truly astounding. You have people come in who said, "There's no way I'm going to do this," and by the end, they're depositing their checks via the mobile app through their bank. So we've seen firsthand the impact these kinds of programs can have. Next is methodology. This is extremely important. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to successful training, technology training for older adults. Methodology is key to making technology accessible to older adults. So simply stating that resources are available and directing older adults to them doesn't ensure that older adults can access them. And we've all seen this with public services. Things are being streamlined, processes are being streamlined, and everything's online now. There are no more paper applications. And we ran into this with a partnership. We were offering our courses out at some NYCHA sites, the New York City Housing Authority. In fact, we were at Queensbridge, which is the largest housing development in the country. And we built our lab out there, and we were offering our computer courses. And somebody approached us and said, our online recertification now, our certification process has moved online, and the older adults don't know how to use it. And there's no more paper application for this. And so we developed a training with their input to help older adults approach this process and successfully get through it. Another key thing to remember about teaching older adults technology is that it really needs to be acknowledged that they have a lifetime of experience, and so that any training needs to be centered around their experiences and what they already know. For example, an organization came to us with a training on Google Suite, and they said, "Do you think that you could use this in your programs for older adults?" And so we took a look at it, and we said there's no way, because again, it was developed for teenagers and for young adults, and so the pacing was extremely fast, and there was music playing in the background, which might help somebody who's younger focus, but it'd be extremely distracting to me, and let alone somebody 30 years older than me. And the problem with the way they were delivering the training was that it was focused on, how to set up an event, like how to set up a garage sale, and then taking for granted that everybody knew, just go to Sheets, open a new Google Sheet. And we're like, it's backwards. Older adults know how to plan an event. They have an entire life of experience of planning things and living. It's the technology that they need help with, and to understand how this technology can help streamline processes for them and make things easier and faster. So we get that a lot, where people are approaching these technologies from the wrong end, and so we look at aging through the lens of technology in some ways. I want to talk briefly also about our curriculum, and in particular our financial security curriculum. So financial security is one of the 5 impact areas that we work on at Oates, and it was, again, both Ready Set Bank, this is one 5-week course, and Senior and Money Matters is another 10-week course. They were both brought about through corporate partnerships, and City Community Development funded the development of Money Matters, and it was developed specifically for with low-income older adults in mind. And so it goes through the very basic things of how to make a budget, and online tools that help you do this. It goes through information about second chance checking and what to do with bad credit. And it goes through ways to use digital tools to save money, like Amazon, eBay, online shopping, and how to supplement your income through the gig economy, for example, like TaskRabbit and Uber and Airbnb. And so one of the participants out at Queensbridge mentioned that she was going to reduce the amount of money she spent on a monthly basis on lotto tickets, and that she was going to reduce the amount of time the amount of money she spent at Panera every week, because she did a budget and she saw how much money she was spending in those areas. We've also heard that the benefits that are included, the benefit resources, people are sharing this information because we go into communities and this is where we're teaching, and so word of mouth really is also very helpful. So about second chance checking and benefits, this kind of information is spread very quickly through tight-knit communities like those. And lastly, I just wanted to mention seniorplanet.org and Senior Planet U. Seniorplanet.org is our lifestyle blog where we feature older adults who embody aging with attitude. And in point of fact, Masako Wakamiya was featured last July on our website. And their toolbox tech tips for seniors, where still our most read article is one on how to use emoji. That's definitely the most popular. And Senior Planet U is our online learning platform that we use to teach our blended learning courses. And we are now also experimenting with independent learning and at-home trainings, which we have branded Senior Planet at Home. So that's some of the exciting things that we're working on at OATS.
Great, thank you, Marissa. We are pushing up against time here, so I think we have a chance for one or two questions from the audience, if that's okay. One back here.
Thank you. I have a comment. I'm Virpi Dua. I come from Finland. I would like to thank all panelists for your excellent presentations. This theme is so interesting and timely. I represent the Union for Senior Services, VALLI. Our organization is national NGO and 65 years old. And now one of our functions is technology for the elderly center, and it's 3 years old now. Technology belongs to everyone, also for aging people. We cannot leave no one behind. Also, digitalization should not isolate anyone. One of the very important issues is we create and develop technology which is friendly to use and made more accessible and available. We need simply and clear device and programs too, but somehow I think the simple ones are very difficult to develop and to do. We need to develop more together with the older people, not without them. We hope to cooperate and share more knowledge also with other organizations and companies.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'm getting the signal to wrap, so we can take one more? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Two more. We're lucky. We have extra time today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for so interesting presentations. Something that struck me from Marissa's presentation is how we sometimes get technology around, on the other way around. And I would like to take this further and ask the panel about how can we also involve older persons in the design of technology, how much companies can actually take our advice on what we need or want, and not just that we have to adapt all the time to the existing technology. Thank you.
If I may, I think it starts with economic inclusion first. I mean, we're obviously running into an issue here where we've got rapidly increasing longevity, rapidly advancing technologies, yet we have systems in place that force us out of society at certain ages. In some places formally, in other places informally. So if there are no people who are 70, 80, 90, 100 years old within tech companies, it's hard for those tech companies to design for older people. So I push for more inclusion of older people in the workplace. And I think that that's certainly a place that we can work. Masako was, I think, certainly a testament to the fact that age is not a barrier. In fact, it can be an enabler to producing really good products and services. Yes, please.
My name is Naoko Iwasaki, professor of Waseda University. Thank you very much for the very great presentations, and I thought it was extremely fruitful contents. And so I conducted a lot of surveys on the digital skills for the older persons in Japan, but there are a big digital divide and among aging peoples. And in the aging society, so they need to get jobs by themselves and after retirement in the future. So in order to do so, they need to get the digital skills. And so I think Miss Wakamiya's case is a very great case for us. And I made a presentation on the role of women and ICT and the aging society, and 2 years ago at the United Nations. At the time, I mentioned that the job of 50% of employees will be performable by the ICT innovation, including an AI by 2030. So the most important thing is to enhance the use of emerging technology to promote the empowerment of the aging peoples. So, however, and we not forget that emerging technologies such as an AI or IoT or big data is a complementary tools. So therefore, we need to create the digital society where ICT and human coexist. So as Professor Obi explained, I think that it's to realize such a digital society to adopt and strengthen the sound and the policies and enforceable legislations for the promotion of e-inclusions. So, and enhancement of the aging peoples. So through this reform forum, and I hope that there will be an evolutionary discussion on this point as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. And on that note, I'd like to conclude. I think I'd like to ask the ambassador if you have some additional thoughts or
I think she has
yes, please. Please, if you have some final thoughts.
Yeah. 私からお答えします。私の考えでは、シニアだからとかシニアじゃないからっていうんではなくて、一人一人の障害とか置かれている状態は違うので、これからのAI の時代になったら、その人に合った一人一人の見つけたアプリがあるべきだと思います。
I would like to comment about the development of technology together with seniors. As we develop a more inclusive society, technology shouldn't be that this is a technology for seniors. It should be for everybody. And as more AI, more evolution is happening in the technology center, we should be able to think about what technology would fit that individual. There should be more individualism in the usage of technology.
Thank you very much. This has been a very thought-provoking and very exciting discussion. As Professor Obi said, that we are in an aging society, the time of aging, but at the same time, information society. How we go across those two lines in a rich an effective way, and we have heard so many key words: participation, or inclusion, or the. But I think we should realize this. We are going through this together. That's one of the participants said that. This is something we are creating society for the older persons and so forth. Well, as Mr. Wakamiya just said, that including the older persons, we are making our society together through the digital and other science and technology devices. Technologies are here not for complicated society, but to make our lives simpler. So that I think even the AIs, we should make those technologies available, and also this is human role, including the older people's role, to make everything so, enrich our society together. So in that regard, I think this session has been very, very useful, and Ms. Wakami made a personal exemplary role or demonstrate that the future society should be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. And on that note, please join me in thanking our distinguished panelists, our honored guests from Japan, and obviously the great support from the United Nations and, of course, the government of Japan for putting this event together today. Thank you all.